Salam alaikum.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Where do I begin? It's a lot of pressure when two speakers before you say I'm not going to take a lot of time. It puts a lot of pressure on you not to take a lot of time. But let me begin by a disclaimer. Disclaimer being one, I am not Shia. I'm Sunni Muslim. That's because I'm going to cite Ali Shariati. Community of labels, people will be quick to label me that he quoted Ali Shariati there, then he's a Shia. So in one of his books, I'm not sure which one yet, but he mentions that he was being addressed by a group of people, and all of them were complaining that we've been talking and talking and talking, and nothing has changed, and nothing is changing. And his response to them was that no, we've not been talking, we have not even begun talking. We've only been complaining, and that's why nothing has changed. And I'm happy that I see a shift now in the House of Ummah stakeholders meeting, in that we have moved from complaining to talking. It's from all sides of the fence, because this fence doesn't only have two sides. It doesn't only have an Indian and African side. It doesn't even only have a Malay or African and Indian side. It has many sides. There are people here whose ancestors, I'm sure if you trace it, they have African blood, they have Malay blood, they have Indian blood. How do we classify such people? So we need, in South Africa in general, not only in the Muslim community, but to find the right terminology to refer to each other. Not as Indian, not as Malay. Perhaps African would be the best, because I think all of us have entrenched roots in this beautiful continent of ours. So African would be, I think, the best a label that we can use for each other. So we are African Muslims, not Indian Muslims, not Malay Muslims, but African Muslims. Anyway, any society that doesn't introspect or self-criticize degenerates, and it ultimately eats itself up. It gets destroyed from within. And I'm happy that although the Muslim community has, since I've been a part of it for the past 18 years, alhamdulillah, since I've been a part of it for the past 18 years, it's a community that self-introspects and that self-criticizes. But why does this degeneration continue? Why does our introspection doesn't help us? Why doesn't self-criticism doesn't help us? It is because our egos have grown much bigger than the cause of Islam itself. We have begun to worship our egos, and it has become so normalized that we can't even recognize it when it happens. We've been married to positions, we're married to wealth, we married to spouses, we're married to our children, we worship them, we worship everything else, and we put Allah last in the list. So perhaps there's a saying, I'm not sure who is it attributed to, perhaps the House of Ummah is, we in the House of Ummah are who we have been waiting for. This is our moment. We have an opportunity to make a mark in this point in history. We have an opportunity to be amongst those who enjoy what is right and forbid what is evil. We dare not lose that opportunity, because if we lose it, we have Allah to face, and it's a prospect that I'm sure none of us are looking forward to facing Allah having failed in this duty that Allah has given us. So I'm encouraged by the talks today, and I see the shift that we are beginning to talk and we're beginning to move forward. And there's an idea that Steve Biko spoke about. They asked him, what do you see in the future South Africa? What would you like to see? Would you like to be part and join white people? And Steve Biko explained it thus, that what we need is, we don't want to be invited to an already set table. The table must be cleared. And then no one invites the other. Everyone comes, sits around the table, and then we decide how the table is going to be set up. This is what needs to happen in the Muslim community. We need, although these organizations and these institutions that we have have a history and need reform. But they also need a culture change. I've been fortunate that in the past few years, I've held an insignificant position in the MYM, which has allowed me to peep into some of these institutions. And you see how much Muslims defer to power, or defer to perceived power. That I would be an insignificant person until someone hears that, oh, this is Thandile, the president of the MYM, and then people will start showing some respect to me. Or even though the position doesn't even, I mean, there's nothing, I'm just the president, there's nothing that I get from it. But just being the president of the MYM, then certain doors would be, maybe not widely open, but there'll be an opening just for me to come in and the rest must stay behind. So we need that culture shift, that we need not always defer to power. Because that has created a problem in our community, that we defer to power at the expense of the welfare of the Ummah. We do not disagree with our, not our ulama, because I don't like this. I know our ulama have done a lot of things, but a lot of bad things, but they've done a lot of good things as well. So the criticism should not be solely directed at the ulama, but as a community, we've deferred to power at the expense of the welfare of the entire community. We respect people with power, we respect people with wealth, even sometimes when they don't deserve our respect, because they've oppressed their workers, they've done all sorts of injustices. We still don't speak up because they have power, they have the wealth. So we need that kind of a shift. And I'm hopeful that the future looks good with the House of Ummah. And I think if there's anything that the House of Ummah has done, if there's anything, it might have failed in many things, but if there's anything that the House of Ummah has done, is to restore, very importantly, that human beings cannot survive or cannot live without. That is hope. That there's hope that this community can get back onto the correct trajectory. We may have failed in many things, we have done many wrongs, we may at times we've been accused that we are politically this, conservative or that, but I think we've managed to restore hope. I've seen this throughout this Ramadan. My brothers will tell you that this Ramadan has been particularly cold. I'm not sure, maybe it's because, I don't know, but the sheikh that you saw there, by the way, Shoaib said he's not gonna, okay, Shoaib, I'm going to let out your secret now. It's in Guanabushe where I come from. So this Ramadan was particularly cold. So every Tarawih we were very cold, but we went there every single day. Because every one of us would say immediately after Tarawih that this could be the last winter in this sheikh. Inshallah, we may have next year a proper masjid where we may not have air conditioning, but we will not be exposed to the elements as we have been. So this Ramadan has been particularly special for us. It's been filled with hope. So if the House of Ummah has done anything, it is to restore hope. Without having taken too much of your time, thank you very much for affording me the respect of listening to me as my elders. I hope that something positive comes out of all of these deliberations, inshallah. And thank you very much to the speakers. Unfortunately, I'm not taking up the job of vote of thanks, but I need to. There are particular speakers that touched the chord in me. Sheikh Ihsan Talib, he touched a very sore points that are closer to my heart. So without wasting much time, shukran, and thank you very much for listening to me.